Hello my friends, it's Lisa and welcome to my September bullet journal setup video. So this month I decided to go with this kind of cozy autumn theme. I start getting excited for fall in like August or even July sometimes, so I figured September was the appropriate month to actually start doing these kind of cozy fall spreads. So for this title page, I'm just kind of drawing a bunch of things that remind me of fall or just remind me of feeling cozy, of cozy things. So I have some tea bags, some like desserts like pies and cinnamon rolls. I draw a scarf, a blanket, things like that, just things that make you feel nice and cozy in the cooler months. So I'm really excited to share these spreads with you all. I'm really happy with how this month's spreads kind of came out. And what I decided to do for this title page is kind of draw all the drawings in like a diagonal from the left to the bottom right, and I write September in the center. I just thought it was an interesting way of drawing all the pictures instead of just kind of scattering them around the entire page. I decided to do this diagonal type of thing. Also, with these little drawings, I'm going in and just using the markers first, and then I do go in with my micron pen, like the tiny one. I think it's O1 that I have. I go in and outline all of the drawings with that marker as well, just to make them kind of stand out a little bit more and bring them all together. Also, to kind of fill in the empty space on that diagonal with all the doodles, I decide to draw some leaves, some longer kind of leafy drawings, and then I also go in with the tan marker and just do some dots in some of the empty spaces just to kind of fill up those white spaces in between the drawings and to make the kind of diagonal look even more prominent. So yeah, this definitely was a drawing and doodle heavy type of theme, and this title page definitely took me a little bit just because there were a lot of individual drawings that I had to do, but I did have a lot of fun thinking of all the different things that I can include in these spreads, all the different things that make me feel cozy and remind me of fall. It was a lot of fun to plan out and to do, so this title page definitely took me a little bit longer than normal just because there were a lot of drawings, but I am really happy with how it came out. So that is the initial title page done. So now we're moving on to the calendar spread. So for the calendar spread, and kind of throughout all of these spreads, I wanted to do some different lettering as well. I wanted to kind of have two different types of lettering throughout these spreads. So I do that kind of classic calligraphy look in some of the spreads and this kind of very like long and skinny lettering as well throughout these spreads. So that's what I decided to do on the calendar page. I also decided to draw another scarf here just because I had a big empty space here. And then kind of surrounding the September at the top of the page, I draw more leaves and branches and the tan dots as well, just to kind of fill in that empty space surrounding the title for the calendar spread. So for the actual calendar, I decided to go in with my light tan marker to do the boxes. I just like the way that kind of softer type of color looks as the boxes. And then I do for the days of the week kind of headers at the top of the calendar, go in with a darker orangey, burnt brown sort of color just to write the days of the week. Also, if you are curious about any of the markers or certain like marker colors that I'm using, I will have all of that linked below, as well as like the specific like Tombow numbers that I'm using in case you want to use them yourself. So I decided to write the days of the week in that similar kind of skinny, thin font, and now I'm just going in with a brown marker to write in the actual days of the week. And as always, I have my YouTube and Instagram growth trackers on the side just because I find it interesting to see. I try not to get too obsessive with the numbers and everything, but I do find it interesting to look back on past months and see where I was, at certain points. And also in this empty space on the bottom, I am doing another drawing. I decided to do another blanket drawing with a cup of coffee and a book kind of stacked on top of it. I just wanted to kind of fill in that big empty space on the bottom of this spread, so that's what I decided to do. And then I also do more kind of leaves and branches and things like that surrounding this drawing on the bottom as well. And I also do add a couple pieces of washi tape. Of course I do. I can't help myself when it comes to washi tape. I add that on the top right in kind of that empty space. I had some fall themed washi tape with some leaves on it that just kind of matched the color scheme for these spreads. So I add that at the top, and then that is my calendar spread done. So now we're moving on to my spreads where I keep track of everything that I've read and also watched in a month. I just like keeping track of these things in my bullet journal. I think it's fun. So I'm just doing a mixture of those different hand letterings that I wanted to do throughout these spreads at the top for the headers. And on the red side, I decided to draw some books. I felt like that was appropriate. So I'm just drawing a stack of books here next to the header. And I do draw some more leaves on the bottom left-hand side. And on the right hand side, where I keep track of everything that I watch throughout the month, movies, shows, anything like that, I draw some more leaves next to kind of the title for this page, and then I once again draw another blanket. I just thought the blanket was really easy to draw and it looked really nice, so I kind of kept doing that throughout all these spreads, but I decided to do a blanket on the bottom right hand side of the watch spread. And now moving on to my tracker spreads, the left-hand side is going to be my habit tracker. So I'm writing out habit tracker in the similar hand lettering that I've been doing throughout these spreads. And for the actual individual trackers, I decided to kind of set up the boxes like how I set up my calendar spread. So I'm doing this kind of brown marker as the header where I will write out what habit I'm tracking, and then I go around that with the light tan marker to kind of make the box for each habit. It kind of looks like a smaller version of the calendar, which I like. So I'm just going in and writing out the different habits that I want to track throughout the month, and then I go in and start doing the doodles for this page. So I thought that the kind of socks and hat went together, so I decided to draw some socks on the bottom left-hand side. Of course, I had to include some form of fuzzy sock type of drawing because I love fuzzy socks, so that's on the bottom left-hand side. I draw the hat near the header at the top of the page, and then of course go in with more leaves, more of those branches, and the tan dots. I kind of do those throughout all of the spreads just to fill up the empty space, and I think it looks really nice the way it kind of fills up the pages. So that is my habit tracker spread complete. So now on the right hand side, I will have my mood tracker. So I'm just going in, drawing the header as well as the kind of key for the different colors and the different moods that they correlate to. And I'm not gonna lie, I got really excited when I thought of what I could do for my mood tracker for this month. So what I decided to do was draw 30 tea bags, and each day I will just color a different one in depending on my mood. And in the little squares where it would say like on a real tea bag what type of tea it was, I just wrote a number so that correlates with what day it is, so I know which day I was feeling which mood, if that makes sense. So I'm really happy with it. I think it's gonna look really cute when I actually start filling it in. So I'm very pleased with my mood tracker spread. And now moving on, we're going to be doing my monthly favorite spread next. And I know I say this every bullet journal setup, but my monthly favorites page is probably one of my favorite pages that I have. It's my favorite spread to kind of look back on in the future. So I always have to include it. So I just wrote the header at the top and I'm drawing another cinnamon roll. And I decided to use my Archer and Olive acrylograph white pen as kind of the frosting. And I feel like it looks like actually kind of realistic, so not gonna lie, pretty proud of myself with that one. And instead of drawing the boxes like I normally do, I just kind of drew these kind of colored blocks for the headers for the different sections of my monthly favorites and just kind of left it like that. Not drawing the boxes, I just kind of wanted it to be a little bit more open. And once again, I'm going in and drawing in the branches and leaves and the tan dots to kind of fill in the empty space around the spread. So now on the right hand side will be my brain dump page, just kind of a place for me to write down any lists, anything really that I need to remember. It's just a place for me to write down anything I need to. And I decided to draw another scarf kind of in the empty space on the right hand side. And then of course I do draw more of the branches and the leaves and the tan dots on the bottom side, but again, wanted to keep this page pretty open so I had plenty of room to write when I need to. But that is those pages done. And now we finally made it to the weekly spreads section. So I'm doing these first 2 weeks similar to the calendar page and the habit tracker spreads. So I'm doing this brown header for the days of the week, and then I go in with the light tan marker to make the actual box for each day. And what I decided to do for these first 2 weeks was to kind of split the page up into 8 different boxes and 8 different sections. So obviously 7 of those boxes will be for the 7 days of the week, but in the 8th box I decided to fill it with a drawing just to bring the theme into the weekly spread. So on the left hand side I'm going to draw a hat again, and on the bottom right hand side I'm going to draw another blanket because I just really like drawing the blankets, I guess. Now, for the next 2 weeks, I decided to do a bunch of the drawings of the different things that I've included throughout all these spreads down the center of the 2 pages. And so I'm just going to be drawing the different things like the pies, cinnamon rolls, the coffee, all of those different things down the center. And then we'll have the weekly spreads on either side of that. So because again, I was doing a lot of the little drawings for this spread, this one did take a little bit longer, but I really like the way that it turned out. I really like the way it kind of fills up the center of the page and brings in the theme into these weekly spreads. So I'm just doing that down the center. And once those drawings are complete, I will go in and draw the boxes for the actual days of the week. And again, similar to the last weekly spread, I do that kind of brown header with the light tan box just to kind of keep it all the same and keep it all cohesive. And now we're on to the final two spreads. So on the left hand side is going to be my final weekly spread. So I'm just drawing these different lines, these different colored blocks with the different colored markers I've been using throughout all of these spreads just to section off the different days of the week. And I'm doing this kind of scattered weekly spread sort of look, and of course going in and drawing more leaves and doing that type of thing to kind of fill in some of the empty spaces. And because the right side was just going to be a completely blank and empty space, I decided to do a drawing and a little quote area. So I'm drawing another blanket, of course, and on top of the blanket I put a cup of tea and a kettle pouring the tea or the water into the cup. I just thought it was cute. I thought it was very fall, even though once again I don't drink tea, but I thought it was a cute drawing, so that is what I did. And then on the bottom section of this page I just write sweater weather and draw more of the leaves and the branches and everything, and it kind of just pulls the whole thing together. Oh, and I do, of course, add some more washi tape because, of course I do. I can't see an empty section of a spread and not want to put washi tape there. So I do add some of that more fall-themed washi tape on the top and bottom right side of these spreads just to kind of fill in more of that empty space. But I'm really happy with how this little drawing quote page kind of turned out. But that is it. We've made it to the end of my September bullet journal setup. So here is a final flip through of what the journal ended up looking like this month. I'm really happy with my theme this month. I just love anything to do with fall, anything to do with anything cozy. So I think this was just me in the theme. It's just everything that I love. So I had such a fun time setting it up, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, as always, let me know in the comments what your theme for September is. I would love to know. But that is going to be it for this journal with me video. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.